indefinitely?
Yes.
And are you hoping that these increased penalties and impounding the car will deter or just make the punishment stronger?
We hope that it's a deterrent, because one of the things that these folks value the most is that automobile, particularly the ones that have been souped up with the nitrous oxide.
You think that will be enough to stop them?
I hope so.
Representative,
If you've had a chance to look on any of the websites, you can they post after they've had races and before they've had races, letting you know where they're going to have races. And hopefully they understand that there are places that you can have these kinds of races that are safe, and then there are places that aren't, and you have the potential for harming innocent people.
Could looking at some of those websites and sort of posting that activity, is that something that can also be a part of the bill?
It may be. As a matter of fact, we've forwarded these to the Director of Public Safety and said, why don't you take a look and see if there's something that we might be able to do about this. They've been aware of some of the websites as well. We're taking a look to see whether there might be something that we can do.
For those people who don't know this nitrous oxide thing, will you please explain what are we talking about?
It's a way of enhancing the power of an engine. I'm not enough of a mechanic to tell you all the ingredients to it, but it's a way that those who want to add power and speed inject it into their engine. It's unfortunately what really gets them souped up.
is there any legitimate uses for nitrous oxide?
Well, it is known as lab gas because dentists use it.
No, I mean, I know that, but I mean, in
cars.
an engine,
It can be
like
enhanced.
industrial uses or anything?
It can be an enhancement to an engine. What we're doing is asking people if they're going to buy nitrous oxide, that they sign a statement that they are aware that they're not allowed to use it, that there's a law that will prevent them from using it. It's used.
I guess what I'm asking is, there's no industry out there that you know that would come forward and say, look, we use nitrous oxide in our engines for a legitimate purpose and shouldn't ban it.
I don't believe so, but we may hear from someone that has a special engine or something. But I'm not aware of it.
Do you have any statistics showing how widespread a practice street racing is in Ohio?
We've looked for it. It's
Deaths in the hundreds every year across the country. We don't always know of all the traffic fatalities that may have involved street racing because there's no statistic for that that the department keeps track of. But certainly it's widespread and occurring in interstates and in small cities and large cities all across the state. There was an incident on Morris Road last year, and there was also a big incident that occurred on I-71 where the State Patrol pulled over 10 people for shutting down I-71 and conducting a race.
Anecdotally, I think the research would show that while my daughter was still in the hospital, there were 5 additional fatalities related to illegal street racing that occurred, including the 3 fatalities arising out of the Morse Road incident. There was an incident on Fisher Road, on Pine City, Georgesville Road. These are incidents that are within 20 miles of where we sit now. 5 fatalities while she was in the hospital here in Central Ohio. It is not just an incidental problem.
Representative Celeste, can you just talk about what happens currently, under the current law, which you think is too lax? What's the usual penalty for these guys? And talk about why not, it's not enough for the deterrent.
Well, the present law says that it's the first degree misdemeanor, and generally what happens in the case that Jeff was just telling me, the 9 of the 10 that were involved in that one race, they got a speeding
$75 ticket.
$75 ticket for speeding, and in that instance they had closed down I-71. This is at night. They closed it down to hold their illegal street race. There are the laws on the books that say you can't do it, but one of the difficulties is the building up a case in the process, making sure that you've got the evidence, and if we could make use of these websites, that would be an advantage, being able to find out where folks are planning these. But again, they move them around, and that's part of the game.
You mentioned that the driver of the other vehicle in this accident was killed. Was anyone else charged with any crime related to this? I mean, were there other racers involved?
To the case,
I may speak to that, yes. The other driver, pictures are available, but there were two vehicles involved. One was I flew by you, and that gentleman struck my daughter's vehicle, and he died. The other car was the license plate blew you away, and he was not charged for months, but eventually was charged, and was tried just a few weeks ago, but found innocent, finding, I believe that there was no racing at the time of the incident.
What was the charge? Do you remember what the charge was?
There were 3 charges, and I would refer you to the website to get those straight, so I don't misstate them. But it involved 2 charges involved the death of the other driver, and 1 charge was the assault on my daughter.
Mr. Durban, I think you were saying something earlier before the news conference about how there's a current rule among prosecutors or police or somebody that if a car that's raced